Once again, no intros. This is Hard Reset with Jeuse Kastoan, and this one is going to be about isolation. This is what it's going to be called, isolation. Now, when I talk about isolation, for myself, I'm speaking of you either don't find your tribe to where, people agree with what you're talking about, or, you don't, how can I say it? You're on your own in a way. So basically, you could be working somewhere, you could be around family, but if you have ideas and thoughts that you want to get out, more than likely, if they don't agree or say what you want to do doesn't align with what they want to do, in turn, unconsciously, you can be isolated. And this doesn't happen on purpose, really. It happens naturally. People gravitate towards those who have the same thoughts and same ideas. So if your thoughts and ideas are different, then in the end, they will gravitate towards that person. Like even in all my friend groups that I've been in up until this point, my ideas and my viewpoint on life in general, it didn't necessarily align with the people I was hanging out with. They thought differently. Um, they had different views. And I'm not just talking like politics and stuff like that. Even though in some cases that was the case, they had different political views. But we never talk about politics. It's just say you could tell based off of things that they say. But it wasn't just that. It was just political views, dating, the way they think about women, manliness, manhood, just things like that in general. There was we thought differently. So in the end, um, what happens is if there's a disagreement, naturally that group of people are going to agree, and you're going to be on the other side. So you're isolated at that point because you're alone. Now, being alone is never a bad thing. I don't think it's a bad thing. The only way it can be bad is if you're so negative and you're doing so many bad things that people don't want to be around you. That can be considered negative. Yeah. But if you're not doing anything bad and you're being a good person and your ideas just don't align with people and your values are a certain way compared to others, there's nothing wrong with standing on your values and not bending. Like some of the people I used to hang out with, their views on women, I didn't agree with it. Their views on dating, I didn't agree with it. I didn't bend and say, well, yeah, man, you're right. Yeah, I guess I can see where you're coming from. No, there's no seeing where you're coming from. Even if I see where you're coming from, doesn't mean that it's right. If it's wrong, it's wrong. So I would stand 10 toes and say that it's wrong. There's nothing wrong with that. If you gotta stand alone on your values, then so be it. At least you know you're not compromised and changing who you are just to fit in with a crowd that doesn't agree with what you think. Um, I don't see isolation as a negative. It's kind of like basketball. They call it ISO. You don't call it ISO because you're afraid of that person in front of you. You call it ISO because you know you can take them one on one, and you're gonna stand on that, and you're gonna take advantage of it. If you're isolated based off of your views, and your views are not bad in your eyes to the point to where you're not being negative to people, you're not being negative about people, you're having a positive outlook, and you're not trying to demean anyone. Being in isolation isn't bad. I honestly say it's a good thing. I'd rather be isolated and alone with my values than to be with a group of people that doesn't align with the way I think and be causing harm to others. Point blank, period. Don't need the negativity. I'm not going to agree with the negativity. So, um, my main thing about isolation is that with isolation, you know, you gotta not be scared to be alone. There's absolutely nothing wrong with being alone. And if you actually work it right enough, being alone makes you stronger. And I can tell you why. You can get used to being alone and standing on your own values and things that you see in the world. You're not going to be fooled by any and everything. You're not just going to fall for the okey doke when someone's trying to game you. You're not going to sit there and fall for whatever games people play. You're not going to sit there and basically take what someone says and just downright just go with it just because you're afraid of being judged. Every day you're being judged, whether you know it or not, and whether you like it or not. Some positive, some negative. But in the end, you're going to be judged. So in the end, who cares how you're being judged? Just live your life. I mean, there's nothing wrong with just living your life and doing whatever you can. And if you're being a good person, you're not being negative to people, so be it. What's bad about that? Don't be afraid to stand alone and stand in your truth. You don't need a mass group of people to follow you to know that your values are correct. Now, if you're racist, of course, you're wrong. So that's not something to be proud to stand alone in, clearly. But if you believe in being good to people and the people around you aren't good and treating people well, they're assholes. You know, when I say assholes, I mean like they're mean to people. There's nothing wrong with sarcasm, but I don't like the idea of being sarcasm to being used to insult people or insult someone's intelligence. Like if people are doing that, then no, I wouldn't consider them to be a group of people that I want to hang with. You want to be good to people, you want to be good to the earth, you want to be good to everyone. You want to put out good energy in the air. You don't want to put out negative energy. So in the end, whenever you're doing these things, you want to focus on being a good person and stand 10 toes on being a good person and not being influenced to treat anyone or treat this earth negatively. Point blank, period. Um, that's my views on isolation. Don't be afraid to stand strong in your values. Don't be afraid to stand strong on who you are. You are who you are. You're a good person. You're doing your best. You're trying your best. Don't let anyone influence you to do anything negative or anything that can get you in trouble or anything that goes against your values, especially if your values are for taking care of others and taking care of the earth and taking care of the animals and just being good to the universe in general. I'm Jeuse Kastoan, and this is episode 2. This is our reset.